And here they are, Daniel going first, trying to set up his combos. At this point, I think we start talking about them knowing each other's deck. I wanna bet. If during Swiss, it's already quite likely. Once you get to the top cut, it's even more likely, as you can sit next to your opponent and figure out easily who they are playing. And we start things off with a sharing from Daniel. Let's see if there is a shifter. No shifter. So let's take a look at these meals. And it's a Guido. Wow.
Okay.
Great start here already.
Good meals, especially because now there's also the Sherin, the Aguido, and also Shuffler. Not bad start. Now the mill 5.
Let's see if there is an angler from his opponent. There is not, but I already see one of the tech cards, which is the one-off End of Anubis, which you can summon with the Mannequin Cat, and unfortunately will not be an option for Dinh for the rest of this game 1.
And we have seen over the last few months Dinh playing on with Spright and always saying that even going second, he likes the deck a lot because basically he can put easily an OTK throughout his opponent's field. We saw him smashing a lot of impressive opening from their opponent. And let's see if he has any sort of interruption to stop Daniels, or otherwise just play through Daniel's combo later on.
Yep, surprisingly enough, Daniel prioritizes milling even more cards, so he's gonna use Kit Kalos and then the Kashira Tearlament to mill 2 cards, one of which is Instant Fusion and then a Rhino Art, which is good enough. Now potentially he can get the Scream to discard for the Rhino Art, which I think could be a pretty nice combo. Let's see if he thinks the same or if he goes for a different opening here. It seems like he's considering the Crime, which surprisingly enough he is maining.
Yeah, he's main decking the Crime, which is an interesting choice. We have seen our players this weekend side decking it, but you know.
I think I would like my line where you get the Scream and you just discard the Scream for the Rhino. And I think, he just realized what I was talking about. You get the Scream, then in a new chain, you are able to discard it for the Rhino Art, getting you the Crime later on alongside another Fusion Summon. So this is a great opening from Daniel. Probably just clarifying some chain links here with our judges. But yeah, as mentioned, now he will get to special summon the Rhino Heart, discarding the Scream to get the Crime. But instead, interestingly enough, will keep it to destroy it probably with Kit Kalos later on.
Okay, now he goes for the Merly and the Arena Heart as well. I think this is a very, very good start from Daniel. And here looks like Dinh doesn't have any sort of interruption because he plays the Shifter, but
he plays Impermanence, I think, but that's it.
Yeah, just Shifter and Impermanence.
But as mentioned, there are a lot of other tech cards in the deck from Dinh. And you should never count him out. Out of the two, he's surely the more experienced, especially at playing on stage, which is, I think, not exactly like riding a bicycle. It's always kind of stressful. We have seen, you know, very accomplished players still be kind of shaky when playing here on stream, especially now that we have gathered a beautiful crowd of other players watching this top 16 match. Yeah, here it's another fusion. It seems like he will go for the Garura, just trying to go for yet another draw. And he will continue with the Scream. Let's see. It does. So activates the Scream. This will allow him to mill even more cards and then easily fetch the Crime he was looking for at the first place. And now we get the interesting combo, because here, funny enough, he could use the Anubis.
Yeah.
He has to be careful.
Also, I think there's a Shifter in Dinh Pham's graveyard.
Yeah.
If he really wants to. Let's see.
Yeah, interestingly, he's considering getting the End of Anubis here. against his opponent, but that would shut down his own cards. So yeah, instead he just grabs a shifter from his graveyard, gonna mill some cards from the top of the deck. Wow. And it's jackpot as the last name available is there. So a lot of playing still from the Tearlaments player. I tried to take a look at the hand from Dinkan, but I could only figure out one of the monsters.
Yeah,
so
only at the
sure.
angler.
Yeah. And as expected, now we are gonna go for a fusion summon. Stapelia would be amazing, knowing you're up against Spright. So let's see if Daniel goes for it. Yeah. Not a surprise. This is one of the staple cards. It's just Stapelia, kind of sounding the same, but yeah, this is really, really good against Spright. Not just because it negates, but because it turns the monster into level 1, which means you cannot special summon your Sprites if that's the only monster you control. We can see even more millings from this Kit Kalos, but for now we'll move on to another Link summon, apparently into the Elf. Interesting.
Okay.
Protecting from being targeted some of his cards, and then we'll use the Kit Kalos to bring back one of his monsters to then go into either Redoer or Dweller. Let's see. First of all, gonna mill some cards, not like he can get much, but he does hit the Crime, which to be fair he wanted to add to his hand, so this could be a little bit of a whiff, and I'm not really liking the order here. As mentioned, I would have liked a different play where you get to the Crime at the beginning, not risking this mill, but let's see. Daniel doesn't think that's the case and might go for Baguska. Wow. Interesting. So goes for the Baguska turn 1.
Okay.
This is not an opening we have seen yet.
Maybe I think he knows that he's up against Dinka. Who
But I see a huge punish in the forms of Book of Eclipse.
This is super strong.
And
honestly.
here it comes down from Dinkan. Book of Eclipse as the first card, trying to fight back. This could turn really badly for Daniel, who is still able to do a few plays, but now let's see if he will activate right away the Elf to get back the Merly and then use the Screamer. If he doesn't, he's in big trouble.
Yeah. So here comes another Beaver. Now we go for the Gigantic.
And it doesn't seem like he will do anything. Wow.
Yeah, and if he doesn't, he's in trouble, because now here he can bring up on the field the blue and take the Jet.
Yeah, apparently we'll think about this summon once the Gigantic hits the field. I think you have to do it. If you don't do it now, Gigantic is gonna completely disassemble you.
Yeah.
You cannot summon
it,
for the rest of the turn.
Yeah.
And he does, so he will activate the Elf, bringing back the Dark from the graveyard. Interesting choice here. Yeah, he doesn't have the Merly anymore. And yeah, now he can follow this up by using the Drake. But I feel like he could have had much better advantage out of this. Because now, as you can see, Gigantic hits the field getting a blue. And the only card left on the field is this Bestial Bold Drake in terms of responses. Which the Scream is useless because you don't have a tier at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think Dinkan is super happy about this. And as you can see, and now another summon, another effect activated, probably the starter or the smashers, because you can guarantee Zeus if you want, but obviously now that it went for the Gigantic, that's not really an option anymore. You can see him doing some quick maths. This is mainly due to the Gamma being an option in his deck, which is such a strong card that a lot of people just completely missed. I guess he flew under the radar, but Khang is a huge fan of this card, and I think you are as well.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about maybe he could go if he manages somehow into the Shadow Mosquito and just let's see if he finds his way. He's just making some calculation here because, as mentioned, when going second, this deck is very powerful because with the addition of Gamma Burst into it, obviously, it gives a huge boost to the deck. And yeah, he is considering his options here. And let's see. He goes Battle Phase. Okay. Yeah, he has the Gamma Burst already in hand, so that's good news for him.
Yeah, at least there is no Zeus coming his way as the Gigantic was activated this turn. And just as a reminder, Dark will not be able to search the deck as it needs to be link summoned in order to do that. And it was summoned instead by Elf. And here we gonna see the Gamma come down, as mentioned, so strong, boosting everything by 1400 life points. But you have to use it in the main phase. Did he already attack?
No. During the main phase, basically, from the graveyard.
You can use it, then use the other effect. Yeah. So as mentioned, Dark cannot search the deck, so he will just deal some more damage. Is there a card face down? Not that it does much with the carrot being there. Again, such a strong option. I mean, just swarming the field is usually considered pretty weak.
Yeah.
With this card, it basically doubles the attack of most of your Spright monsters, turning them into real threats. And especially when you open up a shifter, it can really turn your deck into easy OTKs, as you can search it with Jet. And here we'll see a main phase 2 Oni Bimaru, another great addition to the deck. Oni Bimaru being able to just banish these annoying monsters. And now let's see if he will just end or go for an elf first. He's really considering his options. He's not playing Bestials, right?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. He's not playing Bestials, which is interesting. Otherwise, we could have also obviously seen some of them in his deck. Instead, he prioritized, you know, these heavy impact cards such as Book of Eclipse. And now we get to see the Angler finally. Is he playing 2 copies of it?
Yeah, he's playing 2 copies, but he didn't activate the effect, so it looks like...
Yeah, because I think he had already 2 of the other Nimble.
Yeah.
Do you think he forgot about it, or...?
Maybe just wanted to send it so not to have a, let's say...
Yeah, but this seems kind of weak, right? I think he has the trap card face down, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely not the best comeback I have seen from Khang.
Yeah, honestly, it will make sense if he has the trap, because basically he will be able to bounce back 1 with sprint by detaching 1 material from the Gigantic, and then taking control of another 1 with the trap.
Yeah, and at the moment the Baguska is doing him a favor as well.
Okay, takes it immediately.
Yeah. The only thing I'm slightly concerned about is if he was going for a link summon, I guess it's close, because the decision was also whether to use the Onibibar or attack. But regardless, he's gonna use the Spright double cross right here.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense, honestly. So at least
yeah, he's gonna shut down your opponent.
Yeah.
Here he's gonna attempt to activate Merli, but then he's gonna use the Saliek. So great recognition of his position here by Daniel. And you can see Dinka really not being happy about this. Only left with the sprint as form of defense, we can say. Can't quite tell what he milled yet, but there is a Sherin there. Oh, and an Abnis as well. So great mills here by Daniel, who is in the driving seat. Not surprising that when we get to the top 16 of a YCS of this caliber, the level also is higher, and these duelists are not gonna make their opponent lives that easy. They're gonna try their best to at least go to a game 3 regardless, and this seems like it will be the case for this match. Here, as you can see, Dinkan is gonna use the sprint. We mentioned it was the last line of defense available. Let's see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to use it here, so you just bounce back the Rukalos back. And yeah, still not quite easy to Daniel to deal with all of this, but I think he will find his way. I think the play with Saliek was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, Saliek is doing so much for him. And you can also tell by Dinkan, of course, he's a very experienced player, so he will not give his opponent a free win. He'll make him work for it, but the advantage is obvious. Yeah. And here you can see Kid Kalos being activated, then the Rhino Heart, which first we get to send a few cards. It seems like it was a complete whiff, or maybe just a Kashtira Tearlament. Yeah, and now we're gonna get to use the Merli. He's thinking about it quite a lot. I think we use the Scream, which means that every monster from Dinkan has also been lowered. And now let's take a look at which he's gonna go for. It seems like the Kaleido, so he can break this board quite easily at this point. Yeah, gonna take a look at what is in the graveyard. Nothing too interesting, I would say. So this guarantees the chance to get rid of both the important ones.
Yeah, it gets rid of the Bogusk, and then I think that pretty much he shut it down. Dinkan's field.
Yeah, I mean, still having the Kaleido plus the Saliek is great. It's so strong. You attack over the Gigantic, and I think even if you don't have anything else, and he does.
Okay.
So yes, the Druid was as well to just push and clear the whole field. So this is great from Daniel.
Great stuff here. Yeah.
Yeah, this is tough. I think Dinkan needs a miracle off the top of his deck. Maybe Change of Heart could be an interesting one to start things off from. Because he really needs, at this moment, to get rid of some of his opponent resources. And yeah, I think Change of Heart would be sick.
Yeah.
If he has a Spright engine, yeah. But now Onibimaru is resolving. Good catch there by Daniel, and he gets back. But this has been enough, and it is Daniel who takes game 1. great start of this top 16. As we mentioned, this duelist had to go all through 12 rounds of Swiss and then 2 more rounds in the top cut to be here on stream playing the top 16 for a spot in the top 8. As you can see, the crowd is gathering to watch this incredible match between 2 completely perfect players here competing for the glory. And Dinh once again now against is back against the wall, will try to go for a comeback. It is not easy task, and we have seen how Daniel can make his life hard, but at least this time he will be going first. So what do you think he's gonna side in?
Well, I'm very curious to seeing how Dinh approaches this one, because basically from what he told multiple times during the past months, he went second against Tearlaments.
Interesting.
So maybe with this build, which is kind of slightly different from the one he has been using so far over the last few months, maybe we'll go first, because he's playing some cool cards in the side deck, such as Traptrick alongside with the Dimensional Barrier.
Okay.
Which I really like, and he's also, yeah, on the Triple Tactic Thrust as well, alongside with the Triple Tactics Talent. So he has quite a few options.
I agree. It's one of those deck lists where even if your opponent know your strategy, by playing free barriers, free trust, and free trap trick, even if they know you have some mind games in top cut where you can side those in, go first, and then they even have a lot more useless cards in their deck. But as you mentioned, now it's Daniel who will be going second, and he also has a few tools in his deck, right?
Yeah, Daniel on the other side, I think that he has Dark Ruler no more, which against this deck is relevant, although we have to say that with the double cross, honestly, yeah, it hurts, but not so much. And also there's the Nibiru, but if you're able to put red on the field, it doesn't work out.
Absolutely, but our players are ready, so let's just find out who will be the winner of this game 2. To me, it looked as if Dinh might go first this game, but let's just see. Nice fist pump there. We like some sportsmanship, and it is. So Dinh changing it up and going first. Let's see if he will be punished. There is an upness, but there is a shifter coming down. What a start to this game 2.
Very good stuff here, because basically the shifter is not going to impact Dinh's strategy, because now you go for the gigantic. Ooh.
And the Dark Ruler no more being banished is also a huge deal. That would have been a sick top deck from Daniel. This seems already quite tough, but nice one again from Daniel. He even had the Kelbeck, which he can use, but I think there is a Spright
wow, what a start.
What a start from Dinh. Wow.
What a start from Dinh, honestly. He opened up with red, the start as well.
There is a Druid's Worm, I think, or a Magna, I can't quite tell, coming down. It is Magna, yeah. So it will be able to just put a body on the field. Let's see if he wants to activate its effect. Probably considering it, because he can get negated, which wouldn't be the end. Big deal. Shifter makes it so that it will be useless for this turn. So, and now, as you mentioned, Dinh can do whatever he wants. He can get the trap here. What do you think?
Yeah, you can get the trap, honestly, and you could go for gigantic, and then the thing is that you really need to deal with the Magnamut, because the Magnamut is going to force out the trap either way later on.
Because usually with this end you can do a lot of stuff, you can go for the Mannequin Cat as well, but when you have Shifter, of course, you know that there is a full turn in which your opponent does nothing. So you really want to prioritize OTKing on the next turn, I would say.
Yeah.
I think I do like the trap. Yeah, he does get it. Makes sense to me. The trap is great. when you have resolved Shifter, you just makes it so that you can take whatever monster your opponent has. And now Gigantic coming down, getting even more advantage over to the German player. So much that he can do. He can even go into Mannequin plus the Trap card. He can go for a Link, although they get banished, just to guarantee that the next Bestial will be useless from Daniel. Let's see. I think he's considering it a lot, even going for Onimibaru just to banish the Magna. Yeah, it does. Again and again, Onibimaru coming down, just like in the previous game, banishing this Magna until the end phase of Daniel. So as you can see, he is prioritizing an OTK on the next turn. But play is back to Daniel, who gets to add a Bestial. Probably the Druid, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense, honestly, to go for the Onimibaru banishing the Magna mode, because otherwise it will force your double cross activation. So you're just going to prevent them. But I mean, I like it, because now Daniel has to play under Shifter. And maybe Dinka also has either a trap trick or a dimensional barrier, which might help him out.
He has so many copies. He didn't go into the Frost, because that would have been amazing too. But we start with commitment, I would say, with the Tearlaments Kashtira, because the cards are gonna get banished regardless. So I'm not sure if Dinka is interested. I agree. Why not? Let him just go for it and lose some advantage, I would say.
Yeah, he allows it. And I think here he... Yeah, I mean, Daniel knows that there's a double cross being set from Dinka's side here. But yeah, he enters battle phase. The double cross now has been activated. Makes sense.
Yeah, it will take it and put it under. He's thinking about it. It looked like as if Gigantic was the choice, and it is. So takes away the Tearlaments Kashtira, and now what can you even do in Memphis 2? Will this be over quickly into a fast game 3, or can Daniel find a way? He does, so he might have a Baguska here.
Does he play Accident?
But I think there is a barrier coming down, so yeah. Barrier was there, you were right. Dimensional barrier shutting everything here. So he's gonna force out the Dark, get back the Magna in the end phase, and now I think Dinkang is free to do whatever he wants. Just have to make sure that he remembers about it, and I agree with this. Great recognition. He knows that he has to start from the Gigantic just to make the Bestial dead in the end from Daniel. And from this point on, this is an easy OTK with the Gamma. So that's what we're gonna see. Well played by Dinkan Pham, who is trying his best to even the score. And our players picked up their cards. It's 1-1. Great game, great recognition, but great hand as well.
Yeah,
honestly, the dream hand from our Dinkan. What can you even get better than that? You get the full Spright engine going, and you get Shifter alongside Dimensional Barrier.
No, I got Beaver plus Shifter plus Red plus
How
Starter.
can you lose? Yeah.
Plus Barrier.
Yeah, like
honestly.
That's it. Like, honestly, even if he had a few less cards, I think he would have won that game. So that was absolutely incredible. But that's the way he built this deck. So to be honest, kudos to him. And now the score is even. There is only one game remaining to find out who of them will advance to the top 8. But now, as you mentioned, Dinkham will be going second, which he is comfortable with. But what tools does he have in his side deck for going second?
He has, I think, triple tactic thrust alongside with the talent. It's very powerful, honestly, just to take control of your opponent monsters. And also there's a lightning storm if it really feels like. And he also plays evenly matched. something that we haven't seen so far from us, the Spright player, but
which
for
makes
sure.
sense even with the thrust, because as a reminder, evenly matched can be added and used right away with the thrust, so that's a great combo. On the other end, though, we have Daniel going first, and does he really have anything to side in?
No, honestly, he doesn't.
No.
So
Yeah.
I think he might not be siding in anything.
I mean, maybe we could see the other book which has been popular, we could say as the second option in the side decks, which is the Book of Lunar Eclipse, which is, first of all, cannot be ash blossomed, which is why some players have been using it. And it's also kind of an interesting card because you discard one, which can trigger some of your effects, and at the same time can be used better defensively to set 2 monsters face down, which can be really annoying for the Spright deck. But now our players are basically ready, so let's find out who the winner of Game 3 will be and will advance to the top 8. For one of these 2 duelists, this will be the last end they draw for the entire tournament, and I see an instant fusion. What a way to start things off. I think Dinkan will need a shifter to pair this level. Wow.
Very good start from Daniel here, but I think also his hand is quite strong because I saw a Tearlaments.
Let's see if there is impermanence or shifter coming from Dinkan. At the moment, he's waiting. And this will give his opponent a lot of utility. And wow, interesting choice here. I thought we were going to see something along the line of crime, but okay, Dinkan for some reason decides to show us the end. And it's evenly matched, plus Book of Eclipse.
Yeah.
So let's not count him out of this. But this is really surprising. I thought we were going to see something along the line of a crime, because if you get it, wow. Oh my God, what are these mills? You can see Dinkan shaking his head, both Aguido and Kelbeck. This is gonna be rough.
Now he's going to mill a lot of cards, honestly, and he could get out of control. Let's see if Dinkan can mill any copy of his Nimble Angler.
Yeah, but even so, this is so much advantage for Daniel, who will be able to use 2 fusion summons and even a third if he feels like that's the correct way to go about this, plus milling 10 cards. This is a rough start from the German player to fight back. He's considered only using 1. Interesting.
Okay.
You think that's a wise decision? Ooh, and Gamma is lost, which is also one of the best tools for going second. I'm sure Dinkan is not happy about that, but I'm really intrigued as to why Daniel only milled 5.
Honestly, he could have afforded to actually mill 10.
Yeah.
So
why not?
I would have gone for the lineup, honestly, but
maybe he wants to just do it afterwards when he has ruled Kalos for the angler, but I don't know. It's definitely unusual, I would say, and we'll see if that pays off. Regardless, this is amazing.
Yeah,
so
very good start.
And yeah, another fusion summon here for Daniel. Gonna check once again the graveyards. As you can see, Gamma is no longer a concern, which makes your life so much easier. Let's see if I think he has a crime in the end as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah, which honestly would be awful news because Dinkan is holding evenly matched, and unfortunately, crime is one of the few days to, if not the only way, honestly, to deal with this. Yeah. As you mentioned, he even is holding into the Pearly Rhino.
No, his hand is incredible, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even the Bold Drake, this hand is really, really strong. And now we get to mill 3. He has a normal summon yet. So let's take a look at this. Wow, the Aguido. So a second chance to mill 5. Is he interested? You can see he's debating. He doesn't seem that interested in milling 5.
No.
He doesn't. So once again, shuts down this Agido and forgot to use its effect. Instead, he will probably get an Avnis as another layer of protection. Yep. At the same time, though, we could see a very good combo from Dinh, if combo is the correct word, in Book of Eclipse plus Crime.
Yeah.
Because that is really devastating, and I think that's what we're gonna see. So I think this is still far from over, because Dinh has drawn into some of his going second cards. Let's see if he will see the line, though, because he needs to activate Book of Eclipse. But he starts things off with Prosperity. Makes sense. Maybe you get to another copy of Evenly Matched, and you might as well use that instead. Again, still far from over. There is also the Avnis. But it's gonna be a close one, as expected, and I think going to game 3 is only fitting. But let's take a look at these cars. A lot of interesting options. Mind Control, the Nimble, they are all really, really cool options here. Even the Impermanence could be, but yeah, I think Mind Control is really interesting one. And I agree with the pick. High here, we are gonna see a Book of Eclipse. This could be rough, because we could see Book of Eclipse, which has to be negated, most likely. Then a Crime, which has to activate, but then the Evenly Match completely destroying Daniel. Let's see which of these is gonna come down from Dinh, who is really thinking about this one, with 9.5 minutes left. So 1,000 life points from Instant Fusion might be an issue here from Daniel.
Yeah, I think here you go.
And here it is, Book of Eclipse. His opponent might have to use the Crime, and he does, which makes Dinh super happy, because he will be able to use his Evenly Matched now. This is brutal.
This combination,
wow,
honestly,
and here he comes, Evenly Matched. Completely disrupting his opponent. He knows that there is a Mind Control in the end from Dinh. So he might have to keep the Rule Callus here.
I think you're most likely obliged, because
yeah, you can see him shaking his head. Wow. Yeah, as mentioned, the Rule Callus seems like it makes sense to keep, but it's brutal. Okay, yeah, pay attention to which were materials. Instead, nice decision. I agree with this a lot. If he has a Shuffler, and he does, he keeps the Perle Rhino. Well played here by Daniel. Great recognition. I think he played really well here. Not a joke that he is in the top 16. And this might be enough to shut down Dinh. Because now he goes for Angler, and I think right away Daniel is gonna use his Shuffler just to prevent any possible Spright from hitting the field.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well played here by Daniel. Really, really wise in shuffling back some tiers to then just use the Rhino to pop the Angler. And there are just about 8 minutes left, which is a lot of trouble. I'm trying to take a look at the last cars from Dinh,
right? Jet and Impermanence, yeah.
Yeah, I have doubts about Impermanence, but you might be right. And this is great news. That's popped, yeah, that's not back to the deck. I think Daniel has done it.
Yeah.
He played really well, and that's not a joke in top 16 against a good player and on stream. So I'm impressed by Daniel now.
Yeah, very well played by him, honestly, yeah. And
yeah, and plays back to him. Nice, nice deserved turn. Now it's only one turn which he needs to fight back, gets ahead on life, and there is only one Impermanence that is stopping him from achieving his dream of advancing to the top 8. Gonna take a quick look, not wanna mess up these final moments of the duel. But also gotta take his time to make a move, and he does start things off with the Ball Drake. at least he's guaranteed to be ahead on life. He goes for normal summon Avnis and just gonna attack.
Oh, no, okay. Goes
Interesting.
For a summon instead. Yeah, he goes for the dark.
Gonna use the dark to take a Spright blue from the graveyard, and then gonna keep going this time into the sprint, but this impermanence can hurt so much. This could be a huge punish from Daniel, which only needed to attack, and now has done himself in a huge trouble. Wow. Oh my god, this might cost him the game, and what an unfortunate way to do it. I cannot believe this. Dinh has managed to get himself out of deep water. Wow, sometimes overthinking is the way you can get out of a YCS top cut, and it's a shame for Daniel, really.
Wow, what a turnaround of events, honestly, here.
Heartbreaking for sure for Daniel fans and friends, as he is playing this extremely well, and now
it's enough.
This will be enough to seal the game. And the handshake coming down. Dinh wins and advances. What a match we just witnessed. Honestly, all of the premises were absolutely incredible. Two good players in the top 16 of one of the biggest YCSs we have ever had, and they gave it their best. Honestly, it was really back and forth match, really good level of playing, and good and interesting tech both in the main deck and in the side deck for both. And to be fair, I don't know what I can say much about this.
No, I mean, honestly, also Daniel, I think he played very well when the Evelyn match was activated in Game 3.
Absolutely.
Just to prevent his opponent from activating the mind control, and then I think that he could have entered battle phase and just attack, you know?
Yeah, game, I gotta say, it was a weird one, especially Game 3 was the deciding one. Of course, it was getting closer to timeout. It looked as if the opening from Daniel was absolutely insane. When you see Eastern Fusion going first, I think you think to yourself, oh, I've won this. Then there is a weird decision number one, not milling with Aguido, which could have changed the entire game, to be fair. We don't know, because if you think about it, a second shuffler would have been enough. It just needed to mill another shuffler, and it would have been enough to win this duel. Also, of course, Book of Eclipse plus evenly matched is no joke. As you mentioned, though, Daniel played it extremely well. He knew about the mind control, which means he just had to keep not his monsters, but his field spell.
Yeah.
So very well played, but then again, he got maybe too greedy. He smelled blood, and he basically went all in into this sprint, which got him permanent. And even Dinh could not believe it. But I really want to hear it from the man himself, who is ready with Ed. So thank you guys for being with us, and let's hear it from Ed and Dinh fam.
Thank you, Marcello. I'm here with the top 16 feature match winner, Dinh. How are you feeling at this point? You were just talking to me about how you've been to some previous tournaments. You've topped quite a lot, but this feels quite good for you.
Yes, I'm so relieved because the last three major events I just lost at the first top cut round, and now I finally made it past that round, and I got even into the deep cut. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
You certainly did. With top 8, very exciting. That's a great thing to have. We're going to have a massive interview with each person, quickfire in a bit. But first, let's go through the game that we just watched. It was very exciting. Obviously, there was things like Book of Eclipse in your first game to clear the field, Spright double cross to take the Baguska. You negated the Baguska with Suliek, got into the combo. Daniel then ended up popping up, building a huge field, so you just scooped. So on a feature match, when you're having the sort of first game letting you down a little bit, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
So with my side deck and my main deck overall, I knew that the second game was like pretty much secured as long as I didn't brick. But of course I was afraid of the third game because I have to draw like shifter and so on. I need to draw the hard outs, which I fortunately did with the book and evenly. So yeah, I was quite happy with my hand in game 3. and yeah. Pretty much.
So you mentioned Shifter. We saw Shifter straight away in game 2, and then the D barrier to prevent the Baguska, setting up that OTK with Gamma Burst, so he just scooped. And then we got into game 3. There was the instant fusion from Daniel immediately, built Baguska, and then the Book of Eclipse was negated by Crime, but then you used the evenly matched. There was a moment where he deprived you of using the mind control by keeping the Pellerino on the field. So when that happens, what are you thinking then?
Yeah, I was went ahead of me because I should have done the pot to get the mind control afterwards, after the evenly, because I kind of got the feeling that it was Crime, so I used book first and then evenly. Then I should have used the pot so I can dig for the appropriate card. So that was a misplay from me, but fortunately it worked out at the end.
It did, it paid off. So at least something you know for the top 8 matches, you know exactly when to use that pot and when to take that mind control. But congratulations, really amazing. We'll be speaking to you again very soon, along with the 7 other competitors you're going to be up against in this top 8 cut. But congratulations again. Guys, don't go anywhere because like I said, we're about to have a rapid fire introduction of your top 8 cut here at YCS Lyon. Don't go anywhere.